Nicole and I wanted to come on here today and talk a little bit about showing up when things get heavy. Nicole Randall is in marketing and sales with South Central RTC, Rural Telephone Company, and she is also an author. Don't Waste Your Journey. It is a fabulous book with tools in it on how to take a negative situation, teach other people, spin it in a way that is positive and all the things. It's an amazing book. You can get it on Amazon and you can get it at local bookstores in Glasgow, Kentucky, if you are local. And it was just put in a bookstore in Cave City. What's the name of that store?
One More Chapter. Was just
One More Chapter.
Yes, it's a great place. Yes.
I haven't been over there yet. I love me a good bookstore, a good independent bookstore. But anyway, I digress. Nicole and I Nicole had a personal battle that took her out a few years ago. And, this summer I had a family member with a serious health issue, and it just takes you out. It takes you out of everything. And, I was thinking so many people can't afford to be taken out of everything. They have to go to work. They have to provide for their families. The kids still have to have baths at night, all the things. And it's hard to not just let something like that consume you, not get your job done, and that is the last thing you need when something like that is going on. So Nicole is speaking from experience, and she is going to talk to us today about some of her best practices. And we would love, love, love to have your questions during this live, just to be sure that you are getting the things that we want you to hear today, and vice versa. We want to make sure that it's relevant to your situation. So without further ado, Nicole Randall, one of the most amazing women I have ever met. So
feel the same. Krista, let's start with the most important thing first. We're going to start with the most important thing first. And if you saw the invite to this, or what we talked about there, we asked the question. The question is, are you a waffle or are you a pancake? Okay, that's how we tease that. So, and I think boiling it down to that is the key to working through trauma to continue to show up. So let's open that up, Krista. Let's see how that goes. So let's think about pancakes, which is yummy, great stuff, fluffy goodness, that you have in the morning. They got your pancake. Waffles, equally impressive. Got those crunchy little squares. Awesome. Now, here's what happens when we pour our syrup over it, right? And in this case, unfortunately, it's trauma syrup, okay? Something that we're all going to face in our lives, unfortunately, probably more than once. But when you pour that over our pancake first, it's the good syrup, goes in it, soaks in it, goes up in the plate, maybe goes over the side if you get too much of it, just kind of all over there. And it's the same way if it's trauma, okay? If you're a pancake, you've got major trauma in your life. It's everywhere. It's soaking in all parts of your life. It's soaking all around your life. It's affecting everything, okay? Now, if you go to a waffle, if you're a waffle, you pour your trauma syrup on it. It goes in the squares, okay? And that's the key. What you have to do is you stay in each square in the moment, okay? If you're listening to this, you're a professional. You've got people counting on you. You want to better yourself. You have a lot of things going on in life. So each square is something. You have a square for your husband. We have a square for each child. We have a square for work. We have, a square for what's for dinner, which people want every night, right? And then you have all that. You be fully present in each square at the moment. Fully present. So right now, for example, if we were doing this, we are fully present, only doing this 10-minute trainer and this 30-minute live here. Okay. We're not thinking about the trauma that's happened in our life. We're not thinking about what's for dinner. We're not thinking about the meeting I've got at 1:00 today. We're present here. That way we show people that are important to us we're here in the moment. Okay. Now, that's why you want to be a waffle. So if somebody asks you, are you waffle or pancake? Your answer is
Life in a total pancake this summer.
Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to now, having said that, our next step is we're going to give people techniques to be waffles.
I
Okay.
love it.
So, the one important thing is you have to leave one of those waffle squares for processing. Okay. Because I'm not saying in all this to ignore things that are happening. Okay. I'm saying to be present in the moment, but we're going to leave a square to process what's happening to us. Okay. We're going to process it, we're going to name it, and we're going to deal with it. All right, I'm going to give you an example about what's happened to me this week. I took my only child back to college, right?
Ooh.
That's traumatic. I mean, it's good. I mean, he's thriving, he's happy, everything's great, but it's totally a way that the syrup could be over everywhere, because what's more important than your baby, right?
Right.
So even though it's good, and so I have to find time, like, why am I so sad? I mean, is it sadness? Which it's not sadness, because he's healthy, he's happy, he's thriving, he's in a great place, but it's overwhelming and I keep crying. So I've got to deal with it. So as I'm trying to process it, I'm reading things about people that have sent kids to college and things like that. So I come across a good term, and it's called melancholy. It's by an author named Whitney Fleming. And what it is not sadness. It's a redirection of energy in this particular case. So you direct all this energy into your child, and then they don't need it anymore. So I'm like, what am I doing? It's like a loss there. So I'm like, oh, I've named it. I know what it is. I've processed it. I've named it. I've dealt with it. That's in that square, right? Now, yeah. And then when I move on and I'm ready to, go, take my mom out for dinner or whatever, I'm able to do that at that moment. So you've got all your, that's what you do. That's one of the examples, is you have to process it. Okay. Now, how do you process, right? So you need to spend time with it, but how are you going to process it? So how are you with journaling, Krista?
I love to journal. I don't do it, but once every 4 or 5 years,
And there's no guilt in that. I'm a great journaler, and then pause, journal, pause. Right. But it is key, I'm telling you, especially when you're dealing with trauma, to get it out of here, out of your head. Especially professionals, we have so much going on all the time in our head, and that we got to pull it out and get it out so we can focus on different things. Once it's out, we do that. Now, journaling is great. There's one particular style of journaling that I did a lot when I was going through my breast cancer journey. And it is called David style journaling. Now, here's how it works. You set a time in the beginning of the journal period, never more than 10 minutes. It's different for everybody. And you just get it out, Krista. You just get it out. You cry, you scream, you can be angry, you write down your thoughts. This is why
Wait, Nicole, do you do this with an ink pen? Because I'm not sure that this next generation knows how to use paper and pen. Can you do it on the computer?
Good question. You can do it on a voice recorder. You can do it just, you know what? You don't even have to write it or journal. You can just, I know a lot of times, I tell you what, where I live, if I look to the east, I don't know, I've got a great view. So a lot of times what I did when I was going through my breast cancer battle, I would go out and I would always look that way. For some reason, that's the peace way. And I look out there and I would just, and luckily I'm in the country, but I would just be like, I'm so mad, and this hurts and this is what happened. And I'm losing this time and I don't know, and you get it, you can just speak it, the point is it's in here, you're processing and it's coming out. Okay. So I like writing, but speaking is fine too. The point is we're in that allocation square and we're dealing with it. Okay. You get it out and you say everything that you need to say, but then here's the thing. You've got to redirect it. We don't end on anger. We don't end on all that. You redirect it to something it may not even be positive, but it's something that's helpful, something that's moving you forward. Okay. So you need tips for that. One of the things that's good to redirect after you've got it all out, gratitude is always great.
That
And
is
it
so
doesn't have to be something huge, life-shattering gratitude. It can
uh,
just be, hey, I made it through this test. You know what? Hey, I got dinner made. I had a great conversation with something. I finally finished that paper. You just turn it around to redirect the negative that was going out into a positive. And this gets its name, David style journaling, from King David in the Bible. He wrote most of the psalm. And he would start a lot of things out like that, like, why is this happening? What's going on? And he would always
mhm.
redirect it around too. But that is a huge key for processing, is getting it out, you know?
I love that. I do really love that. And I like that there's a 10-minute, no more than 10 minutes, because
Yeah,
you can go down that rabbit hole.
exactly.
And I have found this summer with trying to compartmentalize some things. I love my Jeep. Okay. In
That's
the
right.
last few days, I've had the top off of it. There hasn't been as much rain in the forecast. That may be bad for the grass, but it is great for me.
Yeah.
And you can turn on 80s on 8. You can turn
Yes.
on
Good
the
choice.
message. Now you all know how old I am. But everybody has their favorites. And just to belt out some of that inspiring music can be a palate cleanser for me.
Exactly.
And so I would probably finish up my David journaling with a wheel around the block out here in the country in my car,
Oh,
just,
perfect.
listening to something that makes me feel good.
Yes,
Uh,
that's perfect.
and I know there are probably lots of other examples, a bath, whatever, it doesn't have to cost anything to
Right.
make you feel good and peaceful.
Right. There's another, and people love ways to remember acronyms and things. There's another thing, and it's I call it the 4 R's. Okay, it's reflect, release, reset, and relax. Okay,
Okay.
author Jason Wilson came up with this, but okay, so when you're doing your journaling, and not always the end of the day, but it's when you're in that square, when you're processing your
Uh-huh.
that, okay, and it's before bed usually, because I'm I'm super blessed. My head hits that pillow, 30 seconds, I'm out. I mean, I could lay on this table, I'm sitting out here and be asleep, but that's not always the case with most people. But there are still things that keep playing in your mind that you have to let go. So take a minute to reflect on your day. Okay, it needs to be the good stuff too, not just replaying how you messed up a speech, or how whatever
Right.
or how you, or maybe you got your bad medical delay that day, or whatever. It doesn't have to be all bad, but you can reflect on it. Okay, here's the key: after you reflect, you have to release it. Each day has enough issues of its own. You do not need to carry it into the next day. Okay, that's why they call it the present. It's a gift. Like, it's here.
I love that.
So you reflect on your day, but then you release it. But here's the thing: the reset part comes in a little bit. It's accountability. So
Mhm.
if there is something that you need to make right with somebody, something that maybe you were short with your husband, maybe you yelled at your child,
Mhm.
whatever, if there's something that you need to reset, do it. Okay, so it doesn't linger, then you relax. Okay, and
Okay.
that's a type of journaling too. You can do that writing down, you do that
Mhm.
in your mind, you can process it with your spouse, with your mate, with whatever. So that's another way, another kind of type of journaling. Just the point is, you're working through it, you're getting it out, you're processing, and you're finding a way to release. Okay, or
The
that
releasing is
syrup's not going to stay in its square. Go ahead.
interesting. I have seen examples of people who will like write down something that is burdening them, a relationship that they can't do anything about, that kind of stuff. Write it down on a piece of paper and throw it in the fireplace
Yes,
or in the garbage can. I mean, and then you're physically releasing it, and
yes.
sometimes that'll help you move forward.
Hmm.
So many ways. But,
Hmm.
as you know, when you're in the middle of the fire, it is really, really hard. So if you have these tools in your hip pocket, it'll be easier to make things happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
because of the nature of my business this summer, I've been able to be a pancake. Now it's time to move some things forward that I have neglected. And so yeah, I'm picking up these tools for sure.
Yeah, you have to take, I mean, that's one of my favorite Bible verses. You have to take captive every thought and make it obedient. You know, you
Oh, I
can't,
love that.
you got to take it and realize what is hurtful. If it's not helping you, you got to name it and get it out, you know. I'm not saying, oh, I named it, it's out. It's a 5-minute process. Okay. Just because you learn something doesn't mean you never have to revisit it again. I mean, we
Right.
all have tendencies that are harder on us than others, you know. So it might be a lesson that continues to relearn, but we have to keep doing it, you know. And one of my let me tell you another thing that is key to this, and especially with professionals, how we are all driven, how we all push harder than we need to push anyway, and that's the word grace. Okay, so we have got to give ourself grace, which is hard to do, but when
I'm
you're in
working on it.
trauma, do what?
I'm working on it.
I know, I know, I know. And like I said, it's a continuing thing. If you have to give yourself grace because you're going to be in pain. It might be physical pain, mental pain, emotional pain. There is no trauma is a huge umbrella, and we all go through different types of it. But you're going to be in some kind of pain, so things are they might take longer. You know, you're
Right.
not going to be as snappy. You're not going to be as witty and as on your feet. Projects will take longer. Okay. And hey, speaking of letting go, the art of releasing at that time is great. So I like to say grace with boundaries. So it's like you've got to give yourself grace at some, but it might be some time to let a few things go. Like maybe some of those committees you've been thinking about letting go anyway,
Right.
delegate, let them rest for a while. Just
Mhm.
accept the grace that you've got. And another thing, it comes with grace towards others too. You know,
Mhm.
one of my current favorite quotes is, we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. Okay. So
That
you have the
is so
same,
true.
so true. So you got to think, you take just a benign situation and you bring people to it. They all come to it at different angles. They're all
Mhm.
bringing their perspective to it. Okay.
Mhm.
So, they don't know you're dealing with trauma. They may not even care,
And
you
Nicole,
know?
that's a good point. I was just going to ask, like,
Sure.
sometimes people are very private when it comes into like their traumas and and what's going on with them. But sometimes, it does seep into their work. So what are some like effective like ways that they could communicate with not giving everything away? Because some people want to stay private, but also show that they do have something going on and it's not an immediate reflection on their character or who they are. Like they do have something deeper and maybe the way that they're responding or reacting in that moment is just a in a moment thing and not something that is reflective of how they are consistently. Does that make
That
sense?
it does. And that's a great, that's a great question. Because people don't know if you don't tell them. So I'm a, I'm a fan of vulnerability. I think if we're vulnerable, it leads others to be vulnerable. And I'm a huge fan of next level living. So what I carry, it's, the surface is nice and it's safe and everything, but your real connections, your real formation, that you make is if you're vulnerable and open. Now, that's not easy for me to do. It's still not, but
Mhm.
um you have to let people know, and you don't have to tell them everything or anything really, but you do need to, they can't, you can't expect them, if you're acting differently, to understand why. So you
Right.
have to give them something. Hey, I've got a lot of extra things going on in my life. I will meet deadlines and I
Mhm.
will get projects done, but I'm just going to need a little bit of grace in the meantime, you know? So you've got to say, I can take this on, I can handle this,
So
but this is what I've got to do.
in a world where we have so many choices
Right.
of how to communicate, Do you ask for a one-on-one meeting with your boss just to say, here's what's going on behind the scenes? I wanted you to know I am truly working the hardest that I can and all those
Mhm.
things. Or, an email. And I know everybody has different talents. But what would your recommendation be for the mode of communication?
In this situation, it needs to be when you're talking about this with your direct superior, it needs to
Mhm.
be one-on-one conversation. I would hope that, which I know is not always the case, but I hope that in a direct line like that, that you're meeting occasionally anyway.
Sure.
But you need to assure them that if you can, there's some things you won't
Uh-huh.
be able to
That's so
to
true.
do, depending on what it is. I mean, like in the time, if when I had a double mastectomy, okay, so I had to have time off work. So if something fell in that month, I can't do it. So
Sure.
they have to know that anyway. So this is the time, this is my schedule. This is
Mhm.
what it's going to look like. This is what my goals are to continue to try to do.
Mhm.
And you will get a lot more feedback. Plus you can read body language. How's this
Oh, yeah.
being receptive? How's
Yes.
how's my superior taking this? Am I feeling like this is going to be okay? Do I need to, so that can't be read in like an email. And it's not an email thing. It's not like I'm going to be out Tuesday and I'll be, it's like you've got to set expectations
Mhm. Mhm.
and be able to adjust them as well.
And I know I'm going to tell a personal story here, speaking of vulnerability.
Mhm.
I know a lot of times things are serious enough that it is hard to find the humor,
Mhm.
but there is most always something to laugh about. I mean,
Right.
with everything that I've been dealing with this summer, I've been, going here and doing this and then making sure this gets done. And I came home one day and my husband had brought home some fresh cantaloupe and corn on the cob. And I
Yeah.
lost my mind. And to me, it was another job I had to do.
I get that. Yes.
The
Yes.
time of summer when gnats are just, bugs are just waiting to take over your home. And I lost my mind. And
Yeah.
I looked at I looked at the situation later and was like, that didn't have anything to do with corn or cantaloupe.
Totally.
And my family still laughs, when I say, gosh, he's getting on my nerves. My daughter will say, oh, did he bring another cantaloupe home? Please don't tell me he went there again. Just,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think that you do have to see the humor in it, but that is them giving me grace. And I'm a lot better at
Yes.
giving other people grace than I am myself.
Yes,
And
we all
so
are.
my new practice is if I wouldn't say it about my best friend, then I shouldn't be telling myself this in my brain.
Right. Right.
So yeah,
Um,
that's like the worst thing that's happened to me all summer. Corn and cantaloupe.
I know I've been that same way. I've like because my personality is like I'm able to I can make a decision like that. And I don't know if it's necessarily going to be the right decision, but I can make one like that. And if it's wrong, I'll just make another one, whatever. But my husband, this similar situation, he was like, okay, listen, he goes, I will take care of dinner tonight. Do you want this or this? Just I lost it again. I was like, what did I just say about making decisions? And I was like, I can't make another one right now. And
Yeah,
he was like, I
and
was just asking like a hamburger or a chicken. I mean, it was like something simple like that. So that is why we need to set examples. I know a question came in about what techniques you can give someone that you might feel overwhelmed. So you don't want to act in a way that's not professional. So you have to, and if you're, and I
And
had,
that is harder at work.
it,
Your husband knows you're going to yell sometimes, whether he deserves it or not. I mean, he just does.
and some coworkers won't care. I mean, really, that's just how it
That's
is.
true.
I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. Or if you work with the public, they don't know you're having a bad day. They just want their
Right.
ticket faster or, whatever it is. So that is why, and I know I don't want it to sound like, oh my gosh, this is just something else I have to do when I'm in trauma. It
Uh-huh.
is a form of what we have given today, Krista, is a form of help. It's a form of self-help. You have
Yes.
you've got to stay in your waffle square, because if you're not in a square, you're everywhere. Nothing gets done. You have got to process what's happening to you, because it's so overwhelming. You have to continue to process, and it's a choice. One day you're going to be doing great. The next day it's going to be horrible, but you have to
Yes.
continue to move forward. Listen, motivation isn't always going to be there. Discipline is what's going to carry you through when you cannot do that. So you be disciplined to do your processing, to do your journaling, to set those boundaries, so that there are less explosions with cantaloupes and chicken.
Right.
So,
Right. And I will tell you that in the professional setting, if you do feel triggered at work, because there is a lot going on in your brain, in your heart, in your soul that nobody knows about, I think it's okay. That vulnerability that you were talking about, if you can't stop the explosion, then come back later.
Yeah.
If it's a coworker, you can come back later and you can be vulnerable and you can say, listen, I apologize. Things just got overwhelming there for a minute, and here's what's going on.
Yeah. I said
And
multiple times, I just can't, I cannot, I have maxed, I've hit the wall. Anything that happens after this point will be not productive. I will be back.
Yeah.
And luckily, I was in the moment. Yeah.
Bandwidth.
I'm
beyond my bandwidth right now. And I think it's okay if it's a customer or a strange situation that the image of the company is at stake. If you have coworkers who can step in, I think it's okay to separate yourself from the situation, because sometimes there are personalities that just don't jive. And that's not always anybody's fault. But if it is a customer and the company or the office's reputation is at stake, then you might find a way to separate yourself from it. If there is someone to back you up. If there isn't, it's a lot of self-discipline, and I do get that.
Yeah, that's why if you continue to be in practice like that, it's easier to do when the moment comes that you need it. There's a great question, as it says, a manager, how should I make sure my team feels supported during the trauma without crossing boundaries? First of all, the fact that manager's asking that is a great sign. And I feel confident in saying that manager is already doing that. But, there is a boundary of not expecting someone to tell you everything. You have to let them tell you what they want. So if we're talking professional, that's why I said you have to set, I know this, you look at your calendars, this is what's coming up, this is what I can do, how can we meet in the middle there? But just the words, I want to support you through what you're going through. We'll work on this together. It's all you need to do. So.
Or please let me know how I can do that, because I know there are going to be times that I could step in and make the load a little easier.
Right. Exactly right. And you've got to remember there are people draw strength from a bunch of different ways. So whatever you draw strength from, lean into that at the time. It is hard for people like professionals that are watching this right now to lean in, because we're usually the ones helping others. But you lean into that. It's your church, it's your family, it's your, whatever it is at the moment, you lean into that and accept the help, accept it, because you've been given it a lot.
And it's a gift to someone else to be able to help you.
That's right. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Don't take their blessing. Yeah.
I know that it's hard to ask. It's so hard to ask. But if I truly want to help somebody, I want to know what I can do to be helpful. I don't want to create clutter in their home if they don't need what I'm bringing. I don't want to create another thank you note for them to have to write, that kind of thing. I want to come wash their dishes, do their laundry, or bring them supper. There are so many ways that you can support somebody, and don't take that privilege from your friends and family.
Right. That's great advice. That's somebody said in the very beginning. They said to me, you don't have a right to take my blessing from me. And I was like,
I love that.
mm-hmm. And that stuck with me the whole time.
But we've always done everything. I mean, as women,
Exactly.
we just, the laundry needs to be
Exactly.
done, we do the laundry. The kid's crying, we go get the kid. We just take care of business. And when you're in a situation like that, you're like, still have to take care of business. So
Right.
anyway.
Very true.
Well, I know we are up on time for today, but we could just be talking
Okay.
for the whole day on
That
this.
went quick.
Couldn't we? Couldn't we?
But we'd love to invite you back, Nicole, for another discussion if you'd be open to it. And we have lots of great feedback, and so I'm going to be sending everybody your email. So again, like, we know these are personal questions. Sometimes people don't want to be too open during this. She does have her book, Don't Waste Your Time, Don't Waste Your
I was
Journey.
going to ask if you could add that to the
Yes,
email.
I'll send the link. Is it
People
in
would know where to
Amazon?
get it. Amazon, yes.
Perfect. So we'll
I'll
get all
send
that to everybody.
details.
Yes. And I mean, I think that that's something that I'm going to purchase myself, because
Great.
I've gone through some things over the past year or two that have been hard. And so, it's always a journey to be able to learn how to cope and still stay professional. And so I was excited to be able to hear your thoughts on everything. So thank you again. And Krista, we always love having you. I know that you'll be joining us back in September for Equal Pay, Know Your Worth.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to give a little bit of a preview, kind of what you'll be kind of discussing for that session, but we're excited to have Krista come back for that. And then we also have an AI session, 10 ways AI is transforming marketing. So for all of you sales professionals, that's going to be a great one on September the 9th. And then Krista's back on the 24th with us. But again, yes, thank you so much, Nicole. We would, like I said, it's just getting to know you over this process. I would love to be able to continue that relationship and conversation. And Krista, I adore you, and thank you guys for joining us today. Have a great day.
Thank you, Jen, for making us look good.
And it's not hard.